Hello everyone and welcome to SUTV Live. It's another big game under the lights here at Bramall Lane. A war of the roses clash between two promotion rivals as the Blades lock horns with Blackburn Rovers. Stand by for all of the team news as we build up to kick off at 7:45. We're taking a look back at Saturday's thrashing of Swansea, as well as hearing from Paul Heckingbottom and George Baldock after his goal of the season contender. And we've an exclusive interview with John Egan to mark his 150th Blades appearance. For all of the broadcast regulations even for tonight's game, please check out the website sufc.co.uk. Hello again, great to be back, and what a game we have in prospect here. Sheffield United against Blackburn as the Blades look to continue their sensational run of form that's seen them go really close to that top six position. They got in there at the weekend, but following Middlesbrough's result last night, they are back out again, but a win puts them back in. As ever, I'm joined by two former Sheffield United players here this evening. As ever, Kevin Gage is here, who, if you're not careful, Kevin, you'll be getting a call from Hecky if this injury crisis continues. How are you fixed?
Oh, it's not that bad, is it?
It's starting to look a little bit worrying, isn't it? Let's be honest.
I had a game of walking football about 3 years ago. I think that's just about my level at the moment.
Yeah, you might struggle then. You might struggle. Delighted to say making his Sheffield United TV debut is none other than Michael Tonge. Good to see you, my friend.
You too, Paul.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
It's been too long. What's taken you so long to get in that chair?
I'm not sure. I've not got the answer to that.
You've just been waiting for United to turn a corner and get on a good run of form. That's what it is, I reckon. You've picked your moment to perfection, I think.
Yeah, I think so. They certainly have hit form, I think, just at the right time.
Keeping well, though?
Very well, thank you.
Looking forward to this?
I am.
Good.
It's always a pleasure to come back and looking forward to a good game.
Let's get stuck into it then. Let's start with the team news, shall we, for the Blades tonight. One change. Chris Basham missing out. He picked up a knock at the end of the Swansea game at the weekend, so he does not feature tonight, but there is a full debut for Charlie Good. Let's start with Kevin Gage's reaction to that.
Well, it's the old adage, isn't it?
It's catching, isn't it? I'm saying relegation at the top. You're getting
the old saying, you don't change a winning team, do you, if at all possible?
Yeah.
And how can you change the team after that wonderful performance on Saturday? I mean, it was fantastic. So the enforced change is Basham, and yes, we'll miss Basham, of course. But from what we saw of Charlie Good in his little cameo when he came on for 15 minutes, more an adequate replacement. I thought he looked very, very comfortable at the back there. So no problems at all with the team whatsoever, and a strong bench as well, of course.
Michael, how much have you seen of the Blades this season?
I've seen a bit. I came to a few games at the start of the season under the old manager where there was obviously a lot of change going on. He was trying to implement a new system. Obviously, Heckingbottom's gone back to three at the back, and I think that, judging by the results, is what everyone's most comfortable with. Got a lot of good players in the squad. Obviously, Billy's scoring goals, and I think they're in a really good place to really push on now in the last third of the season.
I mentioned the injuries before, Kevin. I was alluding to obviously Rhian Brewster, who we know is going to be out, but added to that David McGoldrick, which is a real blow, and Jayden Bogle as well. I mean, he was flying, wasn't he? And then injury strikes like this, and we're probably not going to see him now for the rest of the season either, which you know is a massive shame for the lad, but for the team and the fans as well.
Yeah, it's a real disappointment, to be honest, because he's been an absolute revelation, hasn't he, this season? I mean, just he's playing like a right winger. I was talking to Mike about it, a few minutes ago. I haven't seen much of him play, but I was explaining he's playing like a right winger. You rarely see him have to defend. He's pushing so high up the pitch, and when he gets the ball out on the right-hand side, he's just been dribbling and passing and moving, and his creativity's been fantastic. So it's a big miss, but we've got a fantastic replacement because George Baldock, played great on Saturday. Take his goal away, he's been very, very good when he's got him back into the side, and he's a more than adequate replacement. So yes, we're going to miss Bogle's creativity and what he offers going forward, but we've got a decent wing back in Baldock. No worries about that at all.
Yeah, and this is where the squad comes into play, Michael, doesn't it? In the running.
Absolutely, and I think that's what you need. A lot of other teams, they'll lose players of that ilk and not really be able to replace them. Sheffield United are fortunate in the sense, like Kevin said, that you can bring Baldock in and he's a really top player. He proved that when he was playing in the Premier League. I seen him play quite a bit then, did really well, and I think going forward he'll be just as much a threat.
The lads that are fit will be ready and raring, won't they, given this brilliant run that they're on and that fabulous win at the weekend?
Yeah, I think the whole club's on a high at the moment, aren't they? As you say, you mentioned the run. When you get to this stage of the season, you don't want to be training. You want to be playing games. And when you keep winning, they just want to get out on the pitch and keep going. And the only thing that's going to mess us up this season is the injuries. So hopefully we've had our fill of injuries now, and we can use the squad, when we need to. Yes, we'll have to freshen it up at times, because players will get little knocks, will get a little bit tired, but we've got the quality in the squad to be able to cope with that, I feel.
Kevin and Michael Tonge alongside me for this one tonight. Sheffield United against Blackburn, 7:45 start. A reminder, one change for United coming into this. Charlie Good in for Chris Basham. Let's hear from John Fleck, who also starts tonight. I caught up with him just a few moments ago. John, another big game under the lights tonight. What are your thoughts ahead of this one?
Yeah, it'll be a difficult match. We're obviously in a good place at the moment. We had a great result the other day, so we'll hopefully try and keep that going.
Has the message been from the manager to try and maintain that kind of form?
Yeah, of course. It's been the same message, obviously, since Hecky took over, and the amount of points we've accumulated over that time has been very good.
How has the mentality changed? Because you've been going under the radar, and here you are, right on the precipice of the top six. A win takes you back in there tonight.
Yeah, obviously it changes when you start winning games again. Obviously, I think confidence was a bit low at the start of the season, and obviously Paul's come in and made that better for us.
What's he changed? What's been the secret to it? Because we're seeing players now playing right at the top of their game.
Yeah, I think we've just went back to the sort of normal training regime we've had in the years before, and I think it suits the players we've got at the club.
And looking at the run in some big games to come, but this is what you're in the business for, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. Of course, we want to be the top end of the table, and tonight will be a big challenge against a good team as well, and hopefully we can put a good performance in.
Is there more pressure on the home games in order to try and get maximum points? Are you looking at the fixture list thinking, right, we've got to get as many points as we can, especially here at Bramall Lane? Yeah,
of course, we want to win every game. Obviously, the home ones are more important in front of our own fans, but we just try and pick up as many points as possible and see where it takes us.
It's been a huge collective effort, of course, to get to this point, but I just wanted to ask you about the boys who, sadly, we're probably not going to see again this season. Rhian Brewster, David McGoldrick, two in particular that, have played their part along the way. Jayden Bogle as well, of course. As a group, I would imagine you feel for them.
Of course, yeah, they're obviously very big players for us. But it's part and parcel of football. That's why we've got a good squad here, and anyone can come in at any moment. And as disappointing as it is for us as a group, we just need to keep moving forward.
Well, good luck tonight. We wish you well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Fans filtering in here at Bramall Lane as we prepare to face Blackburn Rovers in the Championship. Sheffield United, 27 points from the last 36, unbeaten in 8, not conceded in the last 4, unbeaten in the last 6 here. But if you go to Kevin Gage's Twitter feed, you will see that a short while ago he tweeted he was feeling a little bit jittery about this one. What's wrong with you? You're normally so optimistic and confident.
Yeah. I just get the feeling that tonight's going to be a very, very difficult game for obvious reasons. Sometimes teams come here. I mean, Blackburn haven't scored for 4 games, and they're a top 6 side, so something's got to give somewhere. So obviously you can say, oh, why doesn't that go on for 5 games, 6 games, 7 games? But the law of averages says, they're going to score maybe soon. I sincerely hope it's not going to be tonight, and we keep our run of clean sheets going. But I'm not as confident tonight as I have been against Hull and Luton and the other games we've had down here. Put it that way.
1 win in the last 5, looking at that graphic there, so they've been on a bit of a wobble.
Yeah,
and many people thought they would have one, because to give them credit, and Tony Mowbray credit, he's done a fantastic job to keep them up challenging for as long as he has.
Yeah, they're on the crest of a slump, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah.
Perhaps they've had their rise and their good spell under Mowbray, and perhaps they're feeling, they have got a few injuries, because we know their main centre forward, Diaz, he caused us huge problems at Ewood Park, didn't he? Tore us apart at times, so obviously he's a huge miss for them. They've got Gallagher up front, but he's no Diaz. So maybe they're experiencing a few problems at the moment, yeah.
Michael, your thoughts on Blackburn? Are they a surprise package this season for you?
I think they probably are a surprise package, but I'm not surprised because I've been played against Tony Mowbray sides in the past. He always gets them trying to play the right way, and I think that's one thing from tonight's game that, if anything, will help United. That I don't think they'll come here and sit in. I think they'll come here, try and play and have a go. And I think the way it can be at Bramall Lane, it'll allow Sheffield United to sometimes play on the counter-attack a bit more. So I think it might suit them.
Open game then, potentially? Goals?
I think there'll be goals in it, definitely, because we're obviously, in a goal-scoring form, aren't we? And we've got all the creative players that can get us chances. And after the games we've seen down here, the whole game we're all going on about the amount of shots and crosses and chances we created. We were always going to score a few goals, I think. I think we were due to get those 4 goals and even more against Swansea. So I think we've always got goals in us. So yeah, I appreciate what Mike's saying. If it's an open game, I think that gives us more of a chance. Because when teams tend to sit in here, sometimes I find it difficult to break them down and get the breakthrough.
Just how good, in your opinion, was that Swansea performance?
I think it was an excellent performance, but you have to qualify it by saying that Swansea were really, really poor. I mean, they just played into our hands like you would not believe. We knew they were going to have quite a bit of possession, but what we didn't realise was how the possession was basically going to be all in their own half and in their own third, and the way they went backwards and sideways all the time, back to the keeper and playing little triangles in their own penalty area. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest. It was weird to watch. And time after time, we just kept pressing them and winning the ball back so high up the pitch and just creating our own chances at the expense of Swansea's possession. It was weird.
It's a big night, this. We know that. You've been in a situation, as have you, pushing for promotion at Bramall Lane. How important can this lot be? We often hear about the fans being the 12th man. Is that true? Yeah,
I think so. Especially if you get against a good team like Blackburn are, and they get a little bit of possession and they're on top. It's important that the supporters stay with you. And I think they will do, because I think the lads have been doing really, really well. So they've got to be behind them. And I think they'll be looking at it thinking, if we can win tonight, we might be able to get into those top 6 spots. And I think Blackburn, if they do lose tonight, and obviously we're hoping that they do, I think they'll be looking over the shoulders.
Expectation-wise, it's certainly changed, hasn't it? Obviously, which is a good thing considering where United were. Do you detect any nerves, any tension in any way around the place? Not necessarily on the field, but United fans that you know and bump into and speak to?
No, not at all. I think whatever we achieved this season is a bonus from the way we started the season. Those first 10 games, those first 8-10 games, I think we were going, oh, here we go again. It's going to be mid-table. We're not fighting relegation. I never thought we were going to be down there. But I think everything we achieved now is a bonus. And I think the fans are just on a roller coaster now. I don't think any of the teams, certainly no one around the club will be jittery or nervous. Not as nervous as me, baby. But I think they just can't wait to get out there. Yeah. And given the way we're playing, and I keep mentioning, but the quality in our team, given a decent run of not having any injuries and keeping the players fresh, just changing 1 or 2 players, we've got more than enough in this squad to not only get in that top 6, but stay there and really make a push for maybe even, if results go our way, the top 2 spots are not within us, is it?
It's only been in the last few games, though, where United have seemingly fought their way through the traffic, because they were on a good run, but teams above them were picking up points as well. But they seem to have kind of burst their way through, made it into the top 6 at the weekend, albeit for a couple of nights, because Middlesbrough won last night. But not seeing the amount of teams between themselves and the top 6 must be another psychological boost as well.
Absolutely. I think, obviously, I always look out for the score and see where Sheffield United are in the league table. And you're right, for a long time they were just reeling a clump of teams in the middle of the league. But obviously, as of recent, they've really seen a bit of daylight to really push on and get up to the top. And I think psychologically for the players and the staff, they'll feel like we're making real progress. Because at times you can win and win and win, and you go, we're not even moving. But if you can get up to the top of the league, especially at February coming into March, there's not long to go now.
Yeah, the table has a very tasty look to it. I mean, you could go right down to Stoke City there in 13th. They'll still feel they've got a shout and something to say about who ends up in the top 6. But Sheffield United were interested in. Kevin?
Well, also, of course, what is absolutely crucial now is how many home games we've got and who we're playing. I mean, we've got 9 home games, including tonight, 9 home games. We've got to play all of those top 6, I think, at home. I mean, it's quite remarkable the way it's all panned out, isn't it?
Top 2 still?
Top 2, both
possibly
got to come here. Yeah, Fulham is right at the end of the season. So potentially Fulham could even be up and away by then. So I'm not going to say they're going to take it easy, but if that game proves to be crucial, you know, there's no reason why Fulham, you know, won't come here. They will have nothing to play for. But certainly it's in our own hands, isn't it? Especially with the teams that we have to play. And they're all literally 6-pointers, some of those games.
There we go then. So some big games on the way, starting with this one tonight here against Blackburn Rovers. The Blades, of course, go charging into it on the back of that 4-0 thumping of Swansea.
Well, the 3 centre-halves all clustered together, as you can see there, coming up from the back. Looking for Robertson here, away by Cabango. Berger gets onto the loose ball. This is a pass out to Fleck. Does well to control. Norwood. It's a good-looking ball in behind. Gibbs-White will take it on here. Morgan Gibbs-White. There's the opening goal. It's Morgan Gibbs-White. Terrific assist from Norwood, but Gibbs-White took it in his stride. Neat finish from the Wolves loanee. That's 6 goals for the season now, and the Blades lead by 1-0. Nicely worked into the path of Sander Berger. Gets it back from Gibbs-White. United have got space here. Berger into Fleck. Fleck looks to his left. There is Reece Norrington-Davis. First time cross, and the strike. What a finish! What about that, George Baldock? Stunning goal! And just look at his face, he's delighted. Couldn't have hit that any better, George Baldock. 2-0 to the Blades. Manning trying to see that one out, but he's made a mess of it, and here comes Gibbs-White. Sharp wants it played. Billy Sharp! Brilliant finish from Billy Sharp. Goal number 13 for the season. United's third. It's been a terrific first 37 minutes. The Blades, good value for this 3-0 lead. Lovely play by Norwood. Norrington-Davis, deflection on the cross. Sharp, can he turn? Gibbs-White with a strike! Gibbs-White again! You can't keep him out of the game. It's his second of the afternoon. It's United's fourth. What a performance from the Blades.
We'll talk more about that game in a moment, but there's only one place we've got to go with it first, and that's George Baldock's goal. Michael Tonge, you were watching that, aghast at how good it was. Yeah,
it was a fantastic move and a fantastic finish. And for someone who's obviously by trade, he's a fullback. I know he plays wing back and he gets forward. It was a fantastic finish. I think Billy would be happy with that one.
I think he'd be more than happy. And the thing is, Kevin, when they hit the bar and go in, they look so much better, don't they?
Yeah, it's bounced.
Why is that?
It's bounced beautifully, hasn't it? But hit underside the bar and bounced in. I mean, in commentary, we weren't quite sure whether it actually gone over the line. I mean, me and Matt were looking at each other going, is it in? Is it in? We didn't, because you don't see the net bulge, do you? It kind of bounces down and in, yeah. But what a strike, fantastic.
I mean, we've got loads of other things to show you between now and kick-off, but I'd be more than happy, guys. I'm just looking for confirmation whether we can just watch that goal on loop for 25 minutes. Can you take it?
I read today it's being maybe nominated for a thing called a FIFA Puskas Award, which is for the most beautiful, or what's the term? Most beautiful goal of the season.
Well, I think it's a definite contender for that. Well, yeah. Is that definite though? Is that a serious
It's come from the FIFA official Twitter site. So
it's got to be serious then. Yeah. So get your votes in for that. Let's get George Baldock winning that Pushkas Award. Let's hear the post-match thoughts of Paul Heckingbottom, reflecting on that performance against the Swans. I think it's fair to say it left him purring.
Yeah, listen, we were good. We set off with real good intent. If anything, it should have been more, and that's not me being disrespectful in any way. It's me just looking after us and our team and our players, and I think everyone there would agree it should have been more goals. So yeah, we were really good. We were really good with the ball, really good without the ball.
We talked in the week about the fact that both teams like to have possession of the football. You seem to get the game plan spot on today.
Yeah, well, it's a different way to be able to create chance, I think, and score goals. So if you compare this game with the last, when Hull came to be totally different to Swansea and sit behind the ball and try and counter, it meant all our chances came from us and our good play and trying to open teams up. And whilst we would have had probably a lot more shots and attempts the other day, you can sometimes get the best opportunities by winning the ball high when a team's split and spread, and Swansea give you that opportunity because they're so brave with the ball and they've got a real strength in how they want to play, which is play out from the back. We wanted to use that to our advantage today and win the ball back from them and create chances that way, and we did that.
Certainly in terms of goals and chances created, were you surprised how one-sided it was this afternoon?
No, not really, no. And again, I don't want to seem disrespectful to Swansea because I'm not, but we put expectations on ourselves that we want to be good, we want to get better every game. We know we're not going to win every game, we know that, but it doesn't mean we're not going to try and put the perfect performance in. And listen, the score is totally different to the other night, but the performance against a team sitting in a deep block the other night was arguably as good as the performance against a team who like to build and just be really brave in possession today. The difference was we took our chances today and still missed some. The other day we didn't.
More from Paul Heckingbottom to come ahead of kick-off. George Baldock next, who says he was pleased to see the team show their clinical edge.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you saw the game the other night, we had numerous chances. Obviously ended up drawing the game 0-0. But it could have been 3 or 4, and I think today everything went right for us, and delighted.
Seemed like one of those games where genuinely it could have been 5, 6 or even more when you look back at the chances that weren't taken.
Yeah, we understand that Swansea are a very progressive team. Fair play to them. They have an identity. They try and play through the thirds and take risks, and today we were able to nullify them. Hecky's very meticulous with his preparation for games. The analysis team and his staff had it spot on today, and we were able to nick it in dangerous positions and make them pay. Was
that the key today, getting right on top of Swansea early on, stopping at what they wanted to do and sort of imposing yourself on the game?
Yeah, I don't know if you can remember the previous game we played them, but it was very frustrating. Obviously played a different formation, but we understood today that they would have a lot of the ball. And like I said, they're very progressive and very ambitious with the ball, and also very open at the same time. You can't kind of do both things. You saw Hull the other night come up and make it difficult for us, but we knew there'd be a bit more space today. And delighted to take our chances, and feels good.
It's been over 2 years since your last goal, George, which seems remarkable now, back to the Premier League days. Not a bad one to reaffirm yourself in front of goal today.
Yeah, I actually did a bit of press with the guys about the best goal I've scored for Sheffield United, I think for the programme on Wednesday, and I said the Norwich goal, but honestly I think that's the best goal I've ever scored. Training, games, delighted. I just said to David McGoldrick in there, I said I don't understand how you goal scorers have the composure when the ball goes in the net, because I just go crazy. I don't know where I am, don't know what I'm doing, and it feels great, but also feels even better to contribute to putting us, 2 goals in front at the time, and putting a little gap there, and obviously going on and getting a few more.
Yeah, goal of a lifetime, wasn't it, for George Baldock? But Morgan Gibbs-White helped himself to a couple at the weekend, got an assist as well. He really sparkled again, Kevin Gage. I'm beginning to wonder whether there's a better all-round player in the Championship right now than him.
Well, I haven't seen them if there is. I mean, I think he's got the most expected assists is a new stat that people have come up with. But
expected assists?
Expected assists, yeah, that's a new stat. But you see their assists and goals in 20 games, that's fantastic. Key passes as well, he's always looking to thread those little balls through to Billy Sharp and Bogle and some of the others, the runners we've got in there. Just his all-round play, he's come back just at the right time for us, because he's had that little breakthrough injury, went back to Wolves, because this was in the transfer window and everybody was panicking that he was going to stay back at Wolves. But, Wolves must be a damn good side, mustn't they, if they can do without him? Because I think he's got Premiership quality. I mean, he's only 22 years old as well, but he's got a lot of experience. He's played 66 games for Wolves. I've just Googled this afternoon. He's played a few games on loan for Swansea, but now he's really coming into his own with us. And he's just a complete player, isn't he? And the role we have for him, that floating kind of number 10 role, he's everywhere. He's just a nuisance to defenders. And of course he can score goals. He's clinical with his finishing.
Plays with a smile on his face as well, which I like. He argues against every single decision. He cares. He's passionate. He's a loan player, and they always say don't fall in love with a player that's on loan, but it's hard not to. You see much of him?
I've not seen loads and loads of him since he's been at Sheffield United, but I remember when he came into the team at Wolves, and I thought he looked a player.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I was a little bit surprised when he went to Swansea, and he didn't do better. But then sometimes you can come to a club and it just suits you. And I think, like Kevin says, he's sort of playing in that roaming role, and he can go and do what he wants, and he seems to be relishing in it. And yeah, just looking at some of his goals and his assists, they're excellent. But I think the one key thing is, if you do play in that position, you have got to score and you have got to assist, otherwise the manager's looking at you.
Absolutely.
But
thankfully, he's doing both of those.
Yeah, you've got to have end product, haven't you? I mean, he's very, very similar to Ndiaye, of course. You know, we've got a similar player to Ndiaye. But that's what Ndiaye needs to bring into his game is his goals and his finishing.
Yeah.
You know, he's got all the tricks, he's got all the flicks. He can play that role no problem. But it's his first season in professional football. Basically, he's very inexperienced. So we're lucky to have two players like that. And also, what's helping Gibbs White is he seems to have formed a real bond with some of the players. You know, when he made his debut with Ndiaye, you could tell they were really up for it together, and they were. I would imagine the dressing room. There's a really nice click, but in the nicest sense of the word, they're all pals together, and they're all pushing each other on and competing against each other to do well.
It wouldn't be a match day here on SUTV Live if I didn't ask you about Sander Berge. Was that his best game in a Blade shirt at the weekend?
I think it has to be. He does seem to be relishing that role, just on the right-hand side of Norwood, just pushing forward and driving forward. I mean, we go on and on and on about his physical attributes and what he's got in his locker, his technique, but yeah, I mean, he's a real handful, isn't he, when he is doing the things we want him to do, which is getting forward and making things happen.
For a big lad, I like the way he protects the ball, looks after it, but good balance as well, can shift left, can shift right very quickly, and that's an impressive trait, isn't it?
Yeah, he's definitely got ability. I've not seen him set it alight yet when I've seen him play, but I'm watching some of the clips now, and obviously it's pretty clear to see that he has got something about him. I know he's been sort of well revered with other clubs where they've been looking at him, especially when they came down from the Premier League. But I'm really looking forward to watching him play tonight.
Yeah, I think we all are. I think he just needed a run of games, and he'll get more games in the coming weeks as well, of course, because they come thick and fast. Sheffield United have a trip to Millwall to look forward to, if someone ever said that, I'm not so sure. But anyway, they go to Millwall at the weekend. John Rawling, Brian Dean, part of the team, and of course Kevin for that one. And this will be a big one here at the Lane as well. Friday the 4th of March, Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest. Ashley back in the chair with Carlos Saba and Kevin. A reminder of the team news here for this one. Blades against Blackburn, one change. Charlie Good in for his full debut. Chris Basham missing out through injury. But aside from that change, it's the same team as the weekend. And why wouldn't it be after that fantastic performance against Swansea? Jack Robinson as well is another player who sometimes goes under the radar. He had a couple of wobbly performances early doors, I think it's fair to say, Kevin. But another player that seems to be really settled and playing at the top of his game now, yes?
Yeah, absolutely relishing that role. He's not Jack O'Connell, because there's only one Jack O'Connell, so he doesn't join in the play quite as much as Basham does on the right-hand side. But what he is doing is he is a proper defender. He wins his defensive headers, and not just the run-of-the-mill ones on the halfway line. He wins important defensive headers from set pieces, when dangerous crosses come in the box. More often than not, he's the one nodding it away and getting the blocks in and getting the tackles in. So he's come on leaps and bounds from the early part of the season where, yeah, he did look a little bit jittery, a bit nervous and made one or two errors. So really, really impressed with him. He's been a big part of that defensive unit. 3
changes for Blackburn tonight. Pickering, Lenihan and Cadra come in. Giles, Rankin Costello, and the big miss is Ben Brereton Diaz, who, since he's put Diaz on the end of his name, has just been a sensation. He's been fabulous. He's won loads of followers of Blackburn in Chile. I mean, he's just a massive superstar, but That's a huge blow to Blackburn, but great news for Sheffield United, Michael.
Yeah, great news for Sheffield United, definitely. It's like anything, isn't it? If you take Billy out of Sheffield United's team at the minute, it's a real blow. And they'll be looking at it in the same way. Because I always think, whenever I look at the Championship as a league, it's about scoring goals. Because it's so competitive, it's if you can keep scoring goals. And I'm looking at the squad of Sheffield United, and I'm not even really just looking at the starting 11. I'm looking at who they've got on the bench, and obviously they've got McBurney. But I think Jefferson will be really important towards the end of the season, because he's been out on loan and he's got used to putting the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So I think for those players, it's really important to keep them in and around it and sharp.
Well, we've delved into our archives to find a classic encounter between the Blades and Blackburn. Kevin Gage played in one of them in the FA Cup quarter-final, but we've not gone for that one. No, we've gone more recent than that. We found a game where Sheffield United spanked Blackburn 3-0. Chris Basham shown an early yellow card here, and you might be thinking, why are we showing footage of Chris Basham getting booked? What normally happens when you see a player get a yellow card on TV, when you're watching highlights, you know automatically that player is going to get sent off, because they have to show you the yellow card. Anyway, that's by the by. But we'd settle for the same outcome here tonight. Enda Stevens drilling that one over. This was Charlie Mulgrew, a free kick that was blocked by the wall, but Chris Basham found himself in trouble. A second yellow card and given his marching orders. Richie Smallwood, you won't be surprised to learn, got a red card for that. I think that definitely drops into the reckless and wild category, Michael Tonge. That's an awful challenge.
Yeah, it was a bit naughty, that, wasn't it? Jesus.
I mean, that's a ridiculous red card for Basham, isn't it? I mean, deliberate handball is going to claim, but I mean, if you're in the wall, I mean, yes, you shouldn't have your hands up, but I think that's just nonsense red card.
Who's that scoring there for Sheffield United? It's that Billy Sharp geezer again.
Probably.
And again.
He gets a goal or two, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not bad, is he?
Is he still playing?
Remember the name. He's going to be around for a while, I think. So that was 2-0 to Sheffield United. This, as I recall, was quite a ding-dong game, though, to be fair. Blackburn kept pushing and pushing, but Sheffield United kept the door well and truly closed. And 2-0 became 3-0. David McGoldrick does brilliantly here. I mean, he can't have known too much about that, but somehow manages to angle his body to turn that one in.
Fantastic reactions. Really good goal.
And there we are. So that's a game from our archive. Sheffield United 3, Blackburn 0. Say it again, please.
I'll settle for that. I'll settle for a scrappy 1-0, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's all about, I think, at this stage of the season, just getting the points. They're playing well, Sheffield United. They're not going to be able to play well at the top of the game every single, but it's how, when you're not quite doing it, you find a way to win. And I think that's what's going to be so important.
Certainly is. Well, let's hear from a man who makes his 150th appearance for Sheffield United tonight. It is, of course, the ever-dependable John Egan.
Yeah, really proud. You know, I suppose being here 3.5, nearly 4 years now, and you know, played a lot of games. So it's it's fantastic to hopefully hit the 150 mark now Wednesday.
I'm sure there are many highlights in that time, and hopefully some more highlights to come as well this season.
Yeah, in the main it's been really successful. Obviously first year getting promoted to the Premier League, and then the fantastic season in the Premier League, and obviously last season didn't go too well, but we're bouncing back now, and we're in good form at the moment, and looking to finish the season really strongly.
How much are you enjoying this run at the moment? The run of clean sheets especially must really please you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I think we've always prided ourselves in clean sheets, over the last number of years, and this year now we've really picked up. I think we're on 13 now in the league, which is good going. And as a defender, you're based on your clean sheets, and it's proud to every time we keep one as a whole team, really, not just the back five and the keeper, but it's something that we've always prided ourselves on, and we're really proud to try and keep as many as we can.
What's changed in recent months for you to start establishing these clean sheets? So more or less every week now, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, I think we've gone back to basics, really. Gone back to what we know, and we're playing we're in good form. We're playing high tempo football. You know, we're playing on the front foot, and you know, we're playing forward, and it's good. And I suppose everybody is getting better as the season is going on as well, which is really good. And as a team, we're definitely improving as the season's going on, and you know, that's it's been really pleasing.
And the relationship you've got with Chris Basham, well, that's been long-standing, but Jack Robinson and Wes Foringham behind you now, that relationship has really developed over recent months.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, especially in a defensive unit, it's good to have partnerships and, you know, get used to people's games. And as you said there, me and Bashi, I suppose, out of my 150 games, I'd say probably at least 140 of them I've been alongside Bashi. So yeah, he's a soldier, and you know, it's great to go to battle with the lads. You know, I have a great group of lads, great squad, and it's great to go to battle with them every week. Brilliant
performance at the weekend against Swansea. What can we expect now from Blackburn on Wednesday night?
Listen, tough game. We're going to have to prepare well. They're another team who's been doing really well this season. So it's going to be a tough game, but you know, we're looking to go out and put on a performance. We're at home. We want to be on the front foot, and you know, we want to get the 3 points.
It was a difficult game at Ewood Park earlier in the season, but a lot has changed with Sheffield United since then.
Definitely, yeah. You know, Blackburn punished us in the second half that day, and you know, it was kind of, we came away from it obviously disappointed with the result. But you know, you have to move on, and going into Wednesday now, we know it's going to be a tough game. They've got some good players, but you know, so do we, and we're going to have to try and raise our performance levels again, and you know, try to get a good result.
Well, they've just had the Kanye West song, All of the Lights, belting out here. I think as a tribute to Kel Brook, who dispatched Amir Khan at the weekend. I watched that. Brilliant. Congratulations, Kel. Big blade, of course. So that's why the lights are flickering in the background. You might remember the flickering lights from the days of the Premier League, and hopefully they'll be back there soon enough. John Egan often goes unmentioned, but his influence on the team cannot be underestimated, can it?
He's the rock, isn't he, at the heart of our defence. When he signed, I was in the studio with Chris Wilder, actually, and I think he'd signed a couple of days beforehand, and Chris Wilder said to me, he's brilliant, he's an absolute warrior, those were his words, and he's proved to be. He wins tackles, he wins headers, he directs people around, and he's the organiser of that defensive unit. But what he's brought into his game this season as well, he brings the ball out from the back, like the old libero, the sweeper, and he pings these wonderful balls out to the left and the right, especially on the right-hand side. He finds Bogle on the right-hand side with alarming regularity. I mean, he's been superb this season, as you say, ever present, and just so reliable all the time. And of course, he does his defensive duties, wins his headers, gets his tackles, gets his blocks in. What a player he has been for us.
Every team needs a rugged, toughest teak defender, and you had one in Chris Morgan, of course. Yeah. It must be really satisfying just to be able to look over your shoulder and go, yeah, he'll take care of it.
Yeah, I think I don't know him personally, but just looking at him, I can imagine what he's like in and around the training ground. Sort of sets the standard for everyone else to follow, and he's played a lot of games in a short space of time, so he's obviously doing something right, looks after himself, all credit to himself.
Kevin, it's at this point we're going to say goodbye to you, but not for long because you go into the commentary position. But before you do, as ever, I will ask for your prediction. Remember, ladies and gents, he said he was jittery at the start of the programme. Any less jittery now?
Yeah, being around you guys has instilled confidence in me. So
we just exude positivity, don't we?
I don't think we'll lose the game, and I think we'll scrape a 2-1 victory.
Wow, how he's changed his opinion in the space of half an hour in the company of me and Michael Tonge. Right, hop to it, get yourself in the chair. Kevin will be along in just a wee while with Matt Young, but whilst he gets himself ready, we'll hear from Morgan Gibbs-White, who was delighted with his contribution at the weekend against Swansea.
It was a great performance. More importantly, the team played unbelievable. I think that's probably one of our best games this season. But no, individually, I was happy with my performance. You know, I contributed 2 goals and got an assist, so I just keep trying to get them stats up.
Might have had a hat-trick.
Should have been a hat-trick. Yeah, it should have been a hat-trick, but, you know, it's coming.
Well, yeah, it's coming. I mean, do you feel back in the groove now, I suppose, after your injury, a couple of games to get back up to speed, and that was you at your best?
Yeah, it was tough being out because, you know, all I want to do is play football and I want to be involved in what the manager's got going on here, so I was eager to get back. And then when I got back, I was just lacking that sharpness, lacking that fitness, and I feel like on Saturday I felt like I got that back.
all of a sudden people are starting to think, well, actually Sheffield United were relegated last season, but most of this bunch got promoted a couple of years prior to that, and all of a sudden it's the other team's anxieties that are starting to play now.
Yeah, you know, when you get relegated from the Premier League, it does take a massive tick on the whole team. So I believe that's the reason why we started off a bit shaky, because the boys were still devastated. But like I said, we've got work to do. Games coming quick and fast, and we're just going to try and pick up the 3 points and pick up any point we can to climb up the table.
Would there be a possibility of a longer term future here at Sheffield United if they get promoted or not? I mean, how do you view it at this stage?
It's a tough question to ask right now. I'm just enjoying my football here. I love the fans. The fans have been brilliant with me, so I couldn't ask for anything more. But yeah, like I said, we just got to see what the future plans out. But the main focus is for everyone to just concentrate on what we've got in front of us on Wednesday.
More now from the Blades manager Paul Heckingbottom, who knows that Blackburn will be a threat tonight.
Yeah, because they've been really dangerous. Been a really dangerous team. Scored goals. Got a clear way of playing with how Tony sets them up, and they're very, very forward thinking and dangerous when they regain the ball. And that's, you know, when most teams are at the most vulnerable, and they try and exploit that pace on the counter. So yeah, we know they're going to be a threat. Very well organised, and like I said, they're all really comfortable with how they're playing now, and the players you can see, even when Tony makes changes, they're sort of like for like in terms of coming in to perform that role for the team. So we know that they're going to be very well organised. We know that it's going to be a tough night for us again at Bramall Lane, but we have to be ready for it. We know how we want to play, and we have to just look after ourselves and bring our best game, whilst obviously respecting them and trying to deal with their threats.
Do some of the players maybe wonder whether this is an opportunity to show how much they've developed in between the match at Ewood and the match on Wednesday?
I think if you're going to speak about what are Blackburn, I think that game's a great example, showing how dangerous they can be in those changeovers of possession. And they're not going to change that, because it's a massive threat for them. They're not going to change it, and they're very, very good at it. Arguably the best team, you know, in terms of countering or being very fast in transition. So we know that threat's there regardless. And again, the couple of signings that they made in the window reinforce that. You know, that the players who they can bring in have got that athleticism and pace, especially going that way.
Team's just coming out behind me here at Bramall Lane. Michael Tonge's going to watch the game with me. You'll get his half-time thoughts at half-time, surprisingly enough. But before the game, let's get a prediction from you, Michael. What do you reckon?
I think we'll win. I do. I think coming off the back of Swansea 4-0, the players will be full of confidence. And I'm not sure on Blackburn going forward to the end of the season. I think they'll win the game. I'm going to go 3-1.
Do you miss being out there on nights like this? You must do.
100%. Just coming back here tonight, it's fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to the game though.
Should be a good one. Because we're not expecting Blackburn to come here and sit back, are we?
No, I think they'll come and have a real go. They didn't play at the weekend, so they'll be fresh. But I don't think we should worry too much about that. Just concentrate on what we're doing.
Good stuff. Buckle up then. It's going to be a good one, I think, this one. Let's hand you over to our commentary team, Kevin Gage and Matt Young, and we'll see you at half-time.